Well, at least one person has died at the Burning Man festival in Nevada. The cause of that death is still under investigation, but tens of thousands of people are still stuck in Black Rock Desert after torrential rains brought about major flooding. President Biden has been briefed on the situation, the White House urging those attendees to listen to state and local authorities and event organizers. ABC's Andrew Dimbert details the disaster in the desert.
Hello. Hello.
Tens of thousands remained stranded at the Burning Man festival in northern Nevada after monsoon rains turned the remote and normally dusty and dry Black Rock Desert into a muddy mess. Authorities cut off access to what is known as Black Rock City, where the Counterculture Arts Festival is held every year. The week-long event had been scheduled to run through Monday, but instead attendees are dealing with thick mud and are being told to shelter in place and conserve food, water, and fuel.
I've been bringing art to Burning Man for 7 years, and we're out here with a solid group of veteran burners. Some people have been doing this for 20 years, and we've never seen anything like this.
Organizers say they have confidence in the communal effort and civic responsibility, an attitude some are embracing.
This is the best burn ever. Seriously, this has given us the opportunity to rise to radical self-reliance and to support each other in the community, and I'm having the best time.
Well said. I don't have much to add to that.
Though others are doing what they can to try and get out, including trudging 5 miles through the mud to a paved road.
Well, we walked 3 miles now. We got, I think, 5 more.
Celebrity DJ Diplo sharing these posts showing him and comedian Chris Rock making the journey before they get a ride from a fan. The Burning Man Project releasing a statement saying it has been facilitating Black Rock City and Burning Man for over 30 years. We have done tabletop drills for events like this, adding, we are looking ahead to our exodus as our next priority. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
That's not what you want to be stuck in.
Wow. What a mess.
We can complain about the heat, but at least it's not that, right? Yeah. Is that something positive?
Yeah. I don't know. It's all pretty bad.
It's pretty hot. But hey, it's eventually going to stop. Not this week, but eventually.
We survived August.
We did.
Look at you, silver lining man.
Little glimmer of optimism there.
This
I'm proud
is new.
of you, Tim. That was
new.
pretty good. Yeah, so the heat is still going to be with us over the next 7 days. In fact, if you remember, last Sunday we broke the record for the most number of triple-digit days that we've seen in a given year. Last Sunday marked the 60th day. Well, we have just tacked on to that number over the past week. In fact, the first full week of September, even looking ahead now, still going to feature more triple-digit days. So today marked the 67th 100-degree-plus day that we've seen so far this year. We had an official daytime high here in San Antonio of 100 degrees. It was 102 out east in Gonzales, stretching over to New Braunfels. Did have some upper 90s, though. Double digits a little bit better than the triple digits for places like Rock Springs, Uvalde, stretching over to Carrizo Springs as well. As we head into your Labor Day tomorrow, I think our daytime highs are going to look very similar to what we saw out there earlier this afternoon. So here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. Tomorrow morning, a little bit more of a muggy start. We see the humidity build through the overnight hours. Because of that, I do think a few morning clouds will be possible. A low temperature around 77 degrees by 7 a.m. Already seeing plenty of sunshine take back over by lunchtime, a temperature of about 90 degrees at noon. And then here we go into the later portions of our Monday afternoon. There's that forecast high pointed around 100 degrees here in town. 101 in Pleasanton, 100 in Devine. Some upper 90s possible yet again, especially for places like Comfort, stretching over to Kerrville. 99 the forecast high tomorrow in Utopia. If you are planning on stepping out to any pools, area lakes, reservoirs, of course, we know that those levels are down, so be careful for any hazards that could be out there in the water. But also keep in mind that the UV index is going to be very high because of all of that sunshine. So it only takes about 15 minutes to start developing a sunburn, so definitely make sure that you take the sunscreen along with you. And something else that we're going to be monitoring throughout the day, elevated fire danger. We know that we have dry grasses and vegetation in place. The humidity is going to drop off a bit more into the afternoon hours, so when you combine those two things together with breezy south winds picking up later on in the afternoon and into the evening, fire danger concerns will be high. This is the latest that was issued by the Texas A&M Forest Service. We have high high to even very high conditions in place across portions of South Texas. So all of those fire safety reminders definitely important to keep in mind throughout the day. And we know the vast majority of us going to stay dry tomorrow, and that's going to be the theme over the next several days, unfortunately. But it's not completely out of the question that by about 4 to 5 o'clock, especially across our far eastern counties, Gonzales County, DeWitt County, stretching over to Lavaca County, maybe a stray shower, not completely ruled out. But again, most of us going to miss out on that, unfortunately. And this is why we have an area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere that's currently sitting farther off to our north. Actually, there was some rain and storms across the Metroplex earlier this afternoon, but the deeper moisture pulled in from the Gulf associated with that low pressure system, it's off to our east. Unfortunately, we're just on the wrong side of that low pressure system to see some of that better Gulf moisture translate to better rain chances for us here in South Texas. And even as we head into the middle of the week, you can see that high pressure is going to take back over, which means daily triple digits are still expected. Unfortunately, no notable significant rain chances for us, at least this week. We will get through it eventually, but at least over the next 7 days, it's still looking to be pretty hot and dry for us here in San Antonio, guys.
We'll look forward to October, I guess, now.
Okay, we can't count out the whole month. Where is the positivity 3 minutes ago?
Well, it lasted 3 minutes.
It's dwindled. All right.
Larry is waiting in the wings to tell us about Instant Replay. It's a big night for them.
It is.
We'll tell you about that.
Woo woo.
Right. Texas State football pulled off the biggest upset of Week 1, beating the Baylor Bears in Waco, and the UTSA Roadrunners came up just a bit short in Houston, where they played the Cougs to open the season. For a preview of what's on Instant Replay, let's check in with my friend Larry Ramirez.
And Coach Traylor said that game is only going to make them better. Now, just like last season, the Roadrunners went toe-to-toe with the Houston Cougars, and just like last season, UTSA could have very easily won that game. Coming up tonight on Instant Replay.
So when you have 3 turnovers, 8 penalties for 65 yards, we mishit 2 punts, and we bounced a field goal off the upright. So that's not winning football.
There are no moral victories for Jeff Traylor and UTSA football. They played well defensively in Houston, and the offense had some good moments, but not enough to help them beat the Cougs. Mary Rominger was there, and she has more.
I told them in pregame that our big-time guys have to make plays in this game for us to win, but I also told them we didn't have to do anything special. We just go out there and play our brand of football, and that's what we did.
G.J. Kinney made a big splash in his debut as Texas State head football coach. The Bobcats went to Waco as 27.5-point underdogs to the Baylor Bears, and all eat-em-up Cats did was come up with the biggest college football upset in Week 1.
Oh boy, a swarm of burnt orange in the kisser of J.T. Daniels.
After a slow start on offense, the Texas Longhorns finally got it going in the third quarter as they go on to beat the Rice Owls 37-10. Defensively, the Horns were solid the entire game, which allowed their offense some breathing room to find their rhythm. We're also talking Texas A&M football, SAFC, the Rangers, Astros, the best of big game coverage from Week 2, and a brand new 12's Top 12. And who wins between UTSA and Texas State Saturday at the Dome? That's our poll question tonight. That and much more coming up on Instant Replay.
The best time of the year, Instant Replay, jam-packed with football.
All
right, Larry, thank you so much. Coming up, he's an American music legend. Next on the Nightbeat, a tour of Robert Earl Keen's ranch and the stories from his past and how he's still making music. All right, Robert Earl Keen, that guy right there, has a new album and will play at Floor's Country Store tomorrow. He also sat down exclusively recently with our Steve Spriester.
Not jealous at all.
No,
not jealous at all. Robert Earl Keen has a new album called Western Chill. So in addition to that amazing interview we gave Steve Spriester, he also showed us around his ranch near Bandera, a place where he definitely goes to chill out.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I had an office in Bandera, and my wife comes in one day and she says, I'm gonna go look at this ranch. And I said, all right. She says, you wanna go? I said, no. I said, we don't have any money. I don't know what you're going to look at a ranch for. These people were from California, and it turned out that the wife really hated living out here, and she wanted to go back to California. I made him an offer, and I didn't have any money. And I was thinking, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. I'm making an offer. I can't even back it up. And like about, I don't know, 15 days later, I got this check from this song Copenhagen that Jeff Foxworthy made a record of funny songs where he's singing. Nobody I know have ever seen or heard this record. It turns out this record was only sold in truck stops, right? And he sold like 4 million of them. And I got a check for $50,000. So all of a sudden I could back up what I offered this guy, you know? Yeah, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Howdy, I'm Robert O'Keen, and welcome to Western Chill.
You got a smoke pit up here, huh?
Yeah. But so that's Medina River over that way, and then Bandera's right on the other side of that hill there. And we've shot a lot of stuff here. You see, I have this little cabin. It's only built for one. Perfectly situated on the western side of a hill.
How many of your songs are autobiographical?
I'd say a lot of them are. Yeah, I'd say 75% probably autobiographical. I come from a very personal point of view. I mean, not necessarily in the song, but like when I'm putting together the song, I have like a real personal thought or a feeling about something or someone, and so I go with that. I don't. It's hard to say. It's sometimes it's hard to get a real emotional feel if you're not coming from a personal place. And so this is where I wrote probably 80% of my songs.
What do you call this place?
The Scriptorium. Yeah, my wife named it that. Where like Scriptorium as in writing place.
What's this place mean to you?
This is my place. This is where I can really get in touch with myself and get in touch with writing a song. And I usually what I do is I don't bring my phone. There's no television here, and I just have a bunch of deer sausage and white bread, and I go out there and cook them out there.
Is there a song when you were playing shows that you had to play?
Well, yeah, the road. If I didn't play the road, I got a lot of flack, and I did that a few times. People really actually literally bang on the bus and scream and tell me I was like ruin their day and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, come on, man. I just didn't play it one time. It's what I've been needing, Western chill, in the cool part of the evening. Snake.
The steak barn, I thought they meant an actual barn that had snakes in it.
It did, used to, but it doesn't anymore. This is it. That's like a little vignette we set up for something I forgot that we did, like a couple of guys playing guitar or something. And then that's where we do like a full-blown band. We add a couple of risers, and then we got the lights here. And
so that's where you did the concert for Western Chill.
Yeah. So we keep that kind of for the smaller stuff, and then this for like band stuff. That's a picture of Danny Hickel, who's the outlaw in Gringo Honeymoon, and that's the hovel that he lived in.
How many of your albums have you done in here?
Oh, just that Western Chill, but we've done a lot more video kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we won't do another.
What are these old set lists?
Yeah, these are set lists. We just did different things where we were just shooting songs, Western Chill, this is like Silver Spurs and the Gold Tequila. It's like all Western stuff. And yeah, Birdie. That's Birdie. She's totally feral cat. Totally feral cat. So that's pretty much the nickel tour, Steve.
That
I appreciate it.
The rest of it's just, land and roads, basically.
It was a nickel tour, but I feel like we were there. You can watch the full tour with Robert Earl Keene and the ranch tour right now on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus and the KSAT YouTube page. You can also scan the QR code on your screen to see all of those Spriester sessions.
Very cool stuff. All right, let's go back outside with live cam here tonight. Not a whole lot going on in and around the San Antonio area. We are pretty quiet, but again, it is still pretty warm with temperatures in the upper 80s and low 90s. All right, if you are off tomorrow for Labor Day, also as we were talking about a little bit earlier in the newscast, maybe heading to an area lake or reservoir, those levels are down. Lake Amistad only 36% full right now. Canyon Lake 68% full, but that is a record low. And of course, we know that Medina Lake not doing too hot, only 4% full, the worst out of the 4 major area reservoirs that we do have in place across south central Texas. It would be nice to get a little bit of rain to help out with that, but unfortunately, with high pressure taking over this week, we are just expected to remain pretty dry across south central Texas. So we'll talk more about that, the elevated fire danger, of course, the heat that comes along with it, plus get you a look at the tropics. The Atlantic Basin still pretty busy. We'll have an update for you coming up in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Mia. To Washington now, where lawmakers are in a race against time to avoid government shutdown by the end of the month. The Senate and House just have a few weeks to resolve major differences over funding the federal government. Republican hardliners in the House could end up forcing the White House and Senate to either accept a slew of conservative priorities or risk a debilitating government shutdown. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is urging his GOP colleagues to back a short-term spending deal to avoid the shutdown. All right, still coming up, it's a first for us. The fentanyl problem so serious that the Bexar County Sheriff's Office is starting something no other law enforcement in our area has done. What they're doing to make their fight against fentanyl easier. That's next on the Nightbeat.
Now, a new step in the fight against fentanyl. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office just unveiled its new fentanyl policy. It involves training for deputies and a new protocol for the way they investigate fentanyl-related deaths. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar sat down with KSAT's Stephanie Jimenez for an exclusive interview and told us the point of the new policy is to save lives.
I think a policy to keep everybody safe is a good idea.
Relief is what Cristina Villagrana felt when she read the new fentanyl policy from the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. The 8-page document explains how Bexar County deputies should handle people suspected of having taken fentanyl or of being exposed to it.
Even though they may have knowingly ingested the drug, they may have thought they were ingesting something else.
The policy states the primary goal of the sheriff's office is to, quote, preserve lives by utilizing techniques designed to stop the loss of life and expediting medical treatment, end quote. So now all Bexar County patrol deputies and those who work in the jail are trained to administer Narcan if they think that someone is overdosing on opioids.
We don't have the luxury of calling for EMS and waiting.
But in cases where someone has already passed away from fentanyl, deputies have a new way of investigating. Now, Bexar County deputies will immediately treat those cases as homicides.
If we have a suspected fentanyl poisoning, we need to get in there, get access to that cell phone, start locking down social media accounts, because the fact is a lot of these commercial exchanges are done on social media.
The point, the sheriff says, is for investigators to find the supplier, charge them, and stop them from selling the deadly drug to anyone else.
If we understood it more, we would have a healthier respect for what this drug can do, what it is, and the potential that it has to be disastrous for families in our communities.
Like Christina's, her son, Kyle Hinkle, died from fentanyl poisoning last year in Atkins. He was just 28 years old. She hopes this new policy also inspires parents to talk to their kids about fentanyl, a conversation she says could save families a lot of grief.
Happy birthday to you. The kids still don't understand that there's fentanyl in everything. So they can't even experiment. They just can't try it, or it's not worth it. And the parents need to, be paying attention to anything.
Again, that was Stefania Jimenez reporting. There are many details in the sheriff's new fentanyl policy, so we included the entire document on our website along with part of our conversation with the sheriff. You can get it all by scanning that QR code on your screen. And while you're there, check out all the information we have on fentanyl, understanding the drug, how it affects people, and where to get help if you suspect someone is addicted. We'll be right back.
All right, so we've talked a lot, obviously, about what's happening in Florida, but it's good to be checking in during this peak time about what's going on in the tropics.
Yeah, absolutely. We are actually 1 week away from what we call the climatological peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. That resides on September 10th, so that will be next Sunday. And of course, we know that the waters in the Atlantic basin and the Gulf of Mexico have been very warm this summer. And as of recent, a couple of weeks ago, South Central Texas saw a little bit of rain from what was Tropical Storm Harold. And then, of course, there was Hurricane Idalia that made landfall last week in Florida. We don't have any issues for the Gulf of Mexico, nothing anticipated for us right now. But do take a look out in the Atlantic. Tropical Storm Gert east of Bermuda, Tropical Depression Katia just east of that system as well. Both of those are just going to hang out in the Atlantic before they eventually dissipate. And then there are two more areas to watch as we see some of these tropical waves come off the western coast of Africa. There's one that has a high 90% potential of tropical development over the next week or so as it tracks westward, and then one on its tail, a 30% low potential for tropical development. So again, no issues or concerns for us here in South Central Texas, but of course, we will continue to keep you posted. Back here at home and across the vast majority of the lower 48 over the next 2 weeks, the big story is going to be the heat. Above average temperatures expected, the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook issued by the Climate Prediction Center. And of course, that all starts with tomorrow for your Labor Day. So once again, starting off in the mid to upper 70s, more humidity in the air first thing tomorrow. And then as we head into the afternoon, we'll see plenty of sunshine and a daytime high around 100 degrees here in town, 101 in Pleasanton, 100 out east in Gonzales, 101 in New Braunfels, and some upper 90s possible, especially for places like Kerrville, stretching over to Rock Springs, as well as Uvalde. I did mention how it is going to be a little humid out there in the morning, but I think as we head into the afternoon hours, we'll start to see those dew points drop off just a little bit as some drier air starts to mix back in. That is good when it comes to the heat index values. Not as big of an issue, but it's bad when it comes to the fire danger. So again, that is expected to be elevated tomorrow. So for those Labor Day plans, here are those fire safety reminders to remember. No campfires or burn piles. Avoid using tools that could create sparks. Dispose of those cigarettes properly. Don't drag trailer chains and don't park recently driven vehicles on that dry grass and all of that vegetation. And speaking of which, if you missed it when this came out on Thursday, here's the latest drought monitor update that was released. We did see some improvements across our far western counties thanks to the rain from Tropical Storm Harold. In fact, we actually were able to erase some of the drought. But as you jog a little bit farther off to the east, for us here in Bexar County, stretching up Highway 281 and up into the hill country, we actually have the worst drought category in place, and that is the exceptional drought. So here's hoping, at least by the later portions of September, we can see more of a notable pattern change that would at least give us some significant rain chances to return back into the forecast, because you can see as of right now, at least through the first full week of September, it is just more heat that we'll be dealing with, guys.
We'll hope for a wet winter.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. The third Equalizer movie has arrived in theaters this weekend. How did Denzel Washington do against Barbie and the other recent box office mainstays? Find out next on the Nightbeat.
He equalized them.
Did he?
We're in a race against the Nazis.
Oppenheimer finished in 5th place this holiday weekend on ticket sales of $5.5 million. Gran Turismo pumped the brakes, skidding from 1st place down to 4th with $6.6 million, while Blue Beetle's movie Mandibles managed to hang on to 3rd place, bringing in $7.3 million.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Barbie kept a firm grip on 2nd place this weekend, adding $10.6 million to her box office haul, which now stands at $600 $612 million domestic and $771 million internationally.
I'm really beginning to like this place.
Denzel Washington's return to the role of Robert McCall in The Equalizer 3 debuted at the top of the holiday weekend box office. The third film in the series easily beat all competitors with a $34.5 million opening. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Please.
See, Denzel equalized them, I told you.
Good job.
We are 1 week away from the Dallas Cowboys kicking off their regular season at the New York Giants, and the Houston Texans will open at the Baltimore Ravens.
Plus, Texas A&M football opened the regular season with a convincing win at home against New Mexico. For a preview of what's on Instant Replay, here's Larry Ramirez.
Football. And if you're an Aggies fan, this is the start you really wanted your team to have, especially.
I'm not, but
I know you're not, but we have Aggies fans watching, so that's totally the start that they wanted, right? So Connor Wigman earned the Aggies starting QB job after an impressive camp and month-long battle with lefty Max Johnson, coming up tonight on Instant Replay.
Oh, I mean, it was awesome. We went out there, we executed the game plan, just took it one play at a time, one drive at a time, and like I said, just give it to my playmakers, and they make my life easy out there.
Led by new offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino and starting quarterback Connor Wigman, the Aggies offense looked pretty darn good against New Mexico Lobos, winning 52-10. Wigman and the Aggies scored touchdowns on their first 5 possessions, which led to a record-setting day for Wigman. Big game coverage week 2 is in the books, and we've got your best fans, best pass, best catch, best run, best play in a brand new 12's Top 12 in Class 6A, 5A, and Sub 5A, as well as another great week for high school football. Plus, we'll recap UTSA football, the Texas State Bobcats' huge win, and our new scholar athlete of the week hails from Antonian High School. That and much more coming up right after the Nightbeat. And you are a UT fan. You know I wasn't saying Aggies fan to you.
Oh, I know, and I respect all of it.
Whew, I was about to get smacked, wasn't I?
No, never. Also, Mia wasn't here, so I can't talk anything bad about the Aggies because she's,
Yes.
Respect.
We'll go to break.